When I seems lost, thoughts lead you astray. Then I cry, then I feel pain. Why do I
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What, what's going on? Where's Pat? Where's Pat not here? Um, welcome to IndyCar Season 1, Round 4. I'm alone today. My name is Dan. I'm joined by a dead man by the looks of it. And we are here to to watch this week's race. We do have, of course, the IndyCar round number 4 currently ongoing. We will be watching that today. But of course, you're here to catch up on all of the ongoings in MRL, not just what is going on currently on the cameras. So allow me to quickly run you through. If you missed it last weekend, we did see the third round of the season, around maybe one of the toughest tracks you will ever see, the Long Beach Street Circuit. And it was in the end Punju who came away with the race win, taking a dominant one at that, winning by 9 full laps over Maud, and Giants fan hung on to P3 simply because lagged out and crashed 3 corners ahead of where Dutch Raven did. Dutch Raven missing out on a podium by a matter of inches. But enough about that. It's time to get into this race weekend. So let's pull you over to the actual gameplay itself. We are round 4. Please ignore the fact that it says the Moose Detroit GP, because it is not the Detroit GP. We just don't know how to change our setting. It is round 4 at the Auto Club Speedway, and it is a beautiful track to be racing at. We have qualifying underway and almost over already. So let's quickly swap on over to that, pull it all up for you. We are currently watching Giants fan, who has been setting laps so far. He is about to finish his current lap time, goes down to the apron. It's risky to do it, but he will cross the line, and it will be only P3 currently. Maud hanging on to P1 with his fastest time so far, 32.7. As Nigel and Dutch seem to have confused themselves as to who is where. There is Dutch, crossed the line now, and he will drop to P6 to round out our standings. We have 8 drivers present for this weekend. One of them is our beloved Pogs, who is setting his second lap time now. We're going to go on board with him. This is the qualifying session. You get 2 laps within 5 minutes to set your fastest time. Pole is determined by who can go the fastest, and currently Maud is on pole with a 32.7. Let's see if we can pull up the time delta, because this would be the one time it would be useful. And I can't find the button, because of course I can't. The dashboard shows 3:57 as Pog sets on his first flying lap a 33.0. We're looking for the line. I'll be honest with you, I've no idea where it is. Absolutely no idea. Now, round the final corner here, we are doing our first oval round of the season. This is, of course, the Auto Club Speedway in California. And as across the line he comes, you can see the line there. He will cross it. Will it be an improvement for Pogs? It will not. A 33.1 is all he could manage. But one driver who is pushing for a faster lap is the championship leader, or should I say former championship leader, as he already has gone on pole position with his first lap. A 32.6, a faster time than what anyone else has set so far. Here, just proof of the fastest times so far. Now looking to try and make it 2. Can he improve? He isn't in fact a cat or a dog. He is a human being, but sometimes he does drive like an absolute alien in the fact that he is constantly at the front of the field. A beautifully clean lap now to the line, takes a bit of the under circuit. We'll set a 32.67, which does not improve his time, but he does remain on pole, and that is as good a job as you could imagine for a driver of his capability. A great job from him to put himself on pole, and that will set our grid for the race as we just wait for qualifying to come to an end now. And when it does, we will have the grid for the race, thankfully. Turns out there was a lap time thing, just to prove and showcase the difference in pace. Those were the differences between them. Less than a tenth between them, but it's enough of a time difference. Here is the grid then for the race. It will be Andre Luiz, otherwise known as Zylo, starting from pole. Maud will start alongside him. Stig in P3, making his debut here this weekend. Giants fan will start P4 after a podium last time out. Nigel P5, Punju P6, Pogs P7, and it will be a skill issue. Plucky underdog Dutch driver starting from P8. We now look to try and see what the situation is. We are waiting for a few drivers to return to the pit lane. I believe it's Nigel, Pogs, and Skill Issue, who we'll call Dutch for the rest of this race, for the sake of benefits. And you can see all the different liveries that we have on the cars this weekend. A bunch of different ones. There is a UPS livery that belongs to Stig. We can have a better look at that real quick if we go on board. So here it is, the UPS style livery represented by Stig. We also have, of course, Zylo's beautiful red Ferrari-esque livery. You can get a better look at that later on. Alongside him will be Maud in his black and green style livery, which we can get a better look of there. Beautiful dark coloured livery. Behind him is Giants fan. That's Nigel. There he is. This is what Giants fan looks like. Of course, the famous black and green he's been driving all season long. Nigel in a white, orange and black livery. Punju will be starting in his absolute abomination livery. And the back of the field, Pogs in his purple and blue and orange livery. And of course, Dutch Raven in the orange and blue neon style car as he almost loses it coming out of the pit lane. But we are getting ready to go racing once again here. This is, of course, a 100 lap race. We will get the tower up for this one. In fact, we could show you off something very interesting we've been working on. That's right, we do in fact have a live ticker at the top. That is very important. Unfortunately, it's not perfect, but we are going to use it for now. So what it will show you is the live positioning, and it will roll. We can also do top 5 only to show you who is where and when. We could also do block scroll, which is actually the more preferred version, where we keep the top 5 in visibility, and then it will trade to the next 5. This is going to be better for us, I think, in the long run. But as we get ready to start lap number 1, the pace car will pull in. iRacing branded pace car, of course. And we will begin racing here around a beautiful track, as for some reason my monitor decided to shut off for a second. That's not terrifying at all. Also, it's a Target livery car, as you see Giant Fan blip out of existence for a moment. But now we get ready to go. Pace car pulls in. It will be Zylo to lead us away for the 100 laps around the Auto Club Speedway. And he will pull away quickly, very, very quickly indeed, as Stig has been left napping here down the order. Now as they come running down through the first turn, the track map is working. Unfortunately, it's hidden by the tracker, which isn't great. So what we'll do is we'll swap back to this so you can get a better look. We do have every single car on track, and right now it is looking like a huge 3-wide battle coming through the first turn. Oh, there's movement! And it's off the track goes Stig, but we also saw movement further up the field. Punju, contact with Giants fan. Punju now tries to go round the outside. That was Maud who made contact with him. My apologies. Punju in P3 has had a great start considering where he was. He was P6 as Giants fan now pulls out into the lead and Punju goes to the outside. 3 wide here at the start of the 100 laps, and everyone's driving as if this is the final lap. A very intense start to this race. Punju just about will lead us across the line to start this race. Ridiculous so far. We'll go back to the gap menu now so you can see the gaps between them. Behind them, it is a front 5 pack currently. Nigel now involved. He is currently in P4. The orange and white car with black accents, representing the Beer League Buzzers for this weekend. Meanwhile, behind them, a little further down the order, that is Pogs, P7 currently, and Skill Issue, Dutch Raven in P6. Back to the front we go, though. 5-way battle for the lead. Punju will lead it away. Giant Fan will go to the outside as they come onto lap number 5 this time round. Very intensive race, this one. And whilst I may not necessarily be the biggest fan, also I just realised that's the halfway point of the lap. The line is at the bottom. That's the start-finish straight. There's almost contact there between Giants and Punju. They are squeezing each other. What I heard from the drivers ahead of this race, the apron is death. You put a wheel on that, you are going to have trouble. As, it's going to be 3 wide. Nigel decides to make the move to the outside. Forces Giants Fan deep on the inside. Pun has to hold his line, but can't go any lower for fear of spinning out and crashing everyone. Still 3 wide as they come round the back straight now. Into the penultimate corner, which then turns into the final corner because it's just a long left-hander. I really don't know how to call oval turns, I'll be honest with you. As Giantsan now goes to the outside, Nigel will switch back into the middle now. In fact, Nigel's got an amazing run through the final corner and will actually take the lead across the line, but it will be Punju fighting back through. Punju, represented by the number 97, currently leads the way, has done for most of this race. Meanwhile, Giants Fan now shuffled back down a 5th, has completely fell out of the pack. Almost momentarily, but has pulled himself back in. One driver who is slowly closing up to the pack, though, is Dutch, who has been pulling away, or nipping away at the times for everyone for the past few laps, is now down to just a second away from the pack. If he gets on that slipstream, he will be right there. Punju once again leading. As they come around to the midway point for the first time in a long time, there are no cars side by side, but Nigel now will go to the inside, forces Punju high, and that means almost certainly that Nigel will take the lead of the race permanently as they come onto the main straight now. But Punju will try and once again get the better run. As for some reason, my left monitor has decided to explode, and I am very confused as to about what is happening right now. We'll close that and pray to God that wasn't important. Either way, chat, are you still with me? I hope to God you are, because I can't tell anymore. Either way, 3 wide at the front is what I can see currently. And it is Punju back into the lead of the race. Meanwhile, looking behind now, Dutch Raven is there. You can see Giants there at the bottom. Punju coming up a bit aggressively. And that has forced Nigel to back out. Punju not making the smoothest movements here in the Dallara. These are, of course, the Dallara IR-18, otherwise known as the IndyCar. Very popular in the United States and very popular to drive as well. As you can see, Nigel trying to force Punju low as they come now round the final corner for the 9th time. But we are a 10th of the way done in this race. And there seems to have been a mistake from Dutch. And Dutch is going slowly. And I'm not sure what's happened there, but Dutch is now very slow on the straight. And I wonder if he's had to get out of the throttle to make a correction. Because he does seem to be picking up pace again. And you can see there, he's dipping a wheel onto the apron, and we've seen just how deadly that can be. Meanwhile, back at the front now. It's a 3-way battle for the lead, and finally we're starting to see movement from the hidden gem of the league, Xylo, who was expected to run away with the title, did not make an appearance at maybe the most critical race of the season at Long Beach in Detroit. No, that's not Detroit. Long Beach in California. Wasn't able to pick up any points because of that, and now we'll move to the outside. Maybe looking to try and take the lead for the first time in this race. Nigel trying to find room not to compromise himself, but you can see Xylo has actually just shuffled himself out of the picture here. And I wonder if that's intentional, because Xylo is a very smart driver, but around ovals, you have to bide your time. You can't lead the entire race and expect to be perfect all the time. Punju hasn't necessarily taken that lesson to heart and wants to lead every lap. Nigel is now seemingly content with tucking in behind, pulling out on the straight, and then tucking back in again for the corner. Oh, there's contact! And Punju's come out into him. And that will be the end of, I think, both of their races. That has to be a safety car. Yellows are thrown, and it's the first caution of the race. And that is a dramatic one to start this one off. As there's been a separate crash. Nigel off the track, the number 7. Barely with half a car working, will pull off the road. And since he had to go a little further to get to the pit lane, he couldn't seem to do it. And that will be all she wrote for them. They now have to pull into the pits and wait to get back out. And that, with one, they're going to have 2 quick repairs for this road. So they should be fine. But it's now about what time do they get out of the pit lane. Punju already making movement in the pit lane. He has just arrived. The number 97. Oh no, Punju! The lack of a front left tyre, or the front right tyre, I should apologise, has cost him a lot of time there, pulling into his garage, and now he has to reverse halfway down the pit lane to get the car straightened out for his pit box. And he's still not there. It's like watching Mahavir Raghunathan. Either way, finally enters the pits, as meanwhile, also coming into the pits are 3 of the front pack. Giants fan, Stig, otherwise known as Tig in this for some reason, the 5 not allowed, and Pogs all boxing as well. They will be a lap up on everyone else. As Punju gets going again, Nigel has remained in the pits, has had to tow, and that is why he has had a delay time to him actually entering the pit lane. He's not there yet. I will let you know once they have. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it will be 3 drivers remaining out. It is, of course, Maud. Huh? I guess Maud got away with that one the best. Maud will lead us away this time, or whenever the safety car decides it is correct to come in. Zyler will be P2, and it will be Skill Issue, who was slowly catching up to the back of them. Dutch had been doing a good job up until that point, but then made a slight mistake, cost him over 7 seconds, is now looking to try and get going again. Punju will come out, shockingly, on the lead lap. Ahead of Pogs. Nigel still getting serviced in the pit lane. If he takes another lap, he will be behind the safety car. And this is crucial right now for him. As Punju, I believe, has had to let Pogs back through because he overtook Pogs for P6, trying to rush to catch the safety car, which is unfortunate. Right. We are still waiting for Nigel to have entered the pit lane. He is not specified on the track currently as being in the pits. He has now left the pits. He has to rush to the exit here, and he will get out ahead of the safety car. The safety car coming down the back straight currently. You can see it there. He will just about make it round. He will be a lap down, I believe. As we now begin the process of forming lines. It will be 2 lines restart. Which is why you will see a couple of positions changing hands. In reality, we know the order. Left side is odds, right side evens. Giants fan will be P4, Stig P5, Pogs P6, Punju will be P7, and Nigel, a lap down, will be P8. And I wonder if there will be a lucky dog used here to allow him to get back through the pack. He will have to slow down quite rapidly. He is catching the pack at a phenomenal rate. And he will be allowed to unlap himself. So Nigel will go now and try to catch back up to the pack. This is huge for his race. It was almost over with that crash, but not today. We are keeping our eyes at the front of the pack now to see if the pace car will pull into the pits. We're not sure when it will. We do not have confirmation from the stewards. And this is the unfortunate part of this broadcast booth. I don't get that information. I don't know when the caution's going to be thrown. I don't know when the safety car is going to come out. And the pace car will come in, and Nigel will be just catching the back of the pack here. And this could be a crucial restart for everyone. As Nigel slows down, we are back racing once again here in IndyCar at the Auto Club, and it is 4 wide for P4 already. Punju's made an amazing start. They run. Maud will lead us away still, ahead of Xylo. Behind them, it is Giants Fan. Then it is Punju, P4 already. Nigel now making up a position! And it is a second caution. And I wonder if there's been a crash, because there are 2 cars off the track. And they have both had to tow. And it appears there's been another incident, this time involving Nigel and Dutch. And I've not caught that on the broadcast, and I do apologise. But it does look like we will be back under pace car pace for a few more laps. And this is very IndyCar of everyone. Hello, D-Master in spirit. Oh, don't start. Don't you start, D-Master. I did not curse no one. I don't do no curses around here. What I do have, of course, is the order currently. Louise, being Xylo, is still P2 ahead of Giants Fan. No change in the front 3. However, Maud didn't look too solid off that restart. There was a very angry Xylo right behind him. Meanwhile, Nigel and Skillissue both in the pits still. We'll be wondering to see how long it will take as in comes Xylo, the former race leader, for a lap. The pole sitter has boxed, and he's going to take his pit stop now. And it does appear, I'm not sure if that is just me, but it potentially a little bit of damage to the car. Although that just might be the way the cars have to be set up around here. This is IndyCar after all, around an oval, not your regular style of racing for any of these drivers. See the pit stop being made. You see the car be lifted slightly off the ground, then put back down, and straight away he goes. And it is a relatively quick pit stop, 8.75, as he leaves the garage. And I'm having a look to see what the quickest pit stop we've seen so far. And it's an 8.73, and that belongs to Giants Fan, who said an 8.73. He has the fastest pit stop so far. Meanwhile, our 2 drivers in the pit lane are both a lap down currently, and will be this time around unless they are able to get back out of the pits. They should still have a quick repair each, and both of them still being present mean that they are both still in the race, which is a good sign. It is now which one is going to be able to tow and get back out on the track fastest. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it will be 6 cars ready to go. Maud, Giants Fan, Punju, Pogs, Stig, and Xylo, now down in P6. Now, as we take this little intermission, I would like to quickly thank our sponsor for tonight. We don't have one. If we did, we'd be using them. Cheers. Well, we are 1 from green as we currently are. I believe it will be this lap that the pace car will be boxing. We'll be going racing again. You can see them sorting themselves into the 2 lines. That is traditionally a sign that we're going racing soon. We are waiting for the other drivers to leave the pits, and we have one officially having left the pits now. This is Nigel, who is technically speaking 2 laps down currently, as Skillissue has also now left the pit lane. Both drivers will have the chance to unlap themselves at least once here. You can see Nigel will stay low on the infield, and then will run up post pace car. Meanwhile, Skillissue taking his time, not realising that I think he can unlap himself here, might just catch up to the back of the pack instead. Actually, I don't think he's been allowed to unlap himself here, which is a huge annoyance if you are Dutch. It means you are now exactly one lap down extra on the guy behind you who you are chasing for position. But the pace car will enter the pit lane. This time it will be Giants fan accompanying Maud to the line. We are green once again here at the Auto Club, and it is racing time around this oval circuit as Nigel catches up to the back of the pack now. We are looking to see if there will be any chaos whatsoever. Chances are there will be. Let's have a look from the back of our race leader. Punju coming in with a rapid pace of knots there. Will not make the move just yet. Giants fan technically has the lead. We can see him here cut across at the front of the pack. This is what it looks like from the rear of a car. If you're wondering what it looks like from Maud's perspective, this is the back end of Giants fan's car. Ever so close for everyone involved. The patience is a virtue earned in this one. They come onto the back straight. Here's another mistake for Dutch. Let's put him down the order. He is comfortably off the back of the pack. You can see him there currently wandering down the main straight. We'll cut to him real quick so you can see. Currently a lap down, 2 laps down on the rest of the field, and is struggling to find positions. As meanwhile, the battle at the front is getting hectic once again. Punju goes to the outside of Zylo. Maud's actually dropped all the way back down to 5th now. Or 4th, sorry, as Nigel has been trying to make aggressive moves up the field, and this makes sense for him to do. He is a lap down, as I think he may have backed out of that one. No, he is still there. I was wondering who that was off the back of the pack. It turns out I think that might be Pogs sitting at the back of the pack, and it is. Oh, and good timing on that, as Pogs has hit the wall on the back stretch. But it doesn't appear to be enough to bring out the caution, though Pogs will now be very quickly taking a run down to pit lane. Meanwhile, back racing are our front 5. Nigel present amongst them, has nothing to lose. A lap down, 2 incidents to his name, needs to try and keep that nose clean, but at the same time is thinking damage limitation here. The best thing I can do is get past everyone and try to unlap myself. 3 wide now as they come around turn number 1. Giants fan just edging out Punju. Zylo following close behind. Meanwhile, sitting off the back of the pack, but not necessarily out of the race as well, is 5TIG. Known simply as TIG in this, the number 52 UPS car, has been doing a good job at watching and waiting. Here's what his onboard looks like currently. This is what it looks like to actually drive a lap of this chaotic mess. You have to constantly be aware of your surroundings, holding your nerve every single turn, and praying that the car grips and the tyres don't start washing away from you. Meanwhile, down the order now, Hogs has re-entered the track, but he is not alone on the track, as there is a lap down skill issue who is trying to catch up currently and attempt to unlap himself potentially. Giants fan still leads the way, but it is getting a lot closer now as Nigel tries to get involved. Punju still holding that second line. We'll tuck him behind for a bit, straight back out, and this is still so dangerous. Punju has the lead of the race as they come into the final corner of the track. But doesn't seem to have been able to pull through mid-corner. Carries more speed on the exit. Oh, Zylo gets all iffy on the infield there. Very lucky to keep position as Maud will re-overtake Zylo momentarily for P3. Maud following Nigel. Then takes to the inside as Giants fan finally bails out of the lead. Pulls to the very outside of the track, and it will be Punju who will now lead us. Nigel holding the high line still. Not willing to give it up. Giants fan tries to go to the outside of him. This is dangerous. That's Maud, I apologise. 2 very similar dark cars. Very difficult to tell which one of the two black cars is in fact theirs because of the similar paint schemes that they do have on them currently. Meanwhile, the leaders are catching up the back of Pogs and Dutch at a small rate here. The gap's starting to close between them. As meanwhile, Nigel is doing his best to try and gain time on the leading pack. But again, when you're stuck in it a lap down, you're praying for another safety car. Hunju leads once again. Completely uncontested this time around as he enters the back straight. Zylo directly behind. And Zylo will look to try and go to the outside line here to not compromise and lose his speed as he has done in previous runs. Now tries to carry it around the outside. We know we'll have better speed out of the exit, but Punju will just about hold for now. Nigel also takes a very good line on the exit there and will sweep into turn one with a lot of extra pace, but not able to carry it, as meanwhile there has been another crash, and it's Pogs and Dutch. They're on the infield, fortunately enough, but there is another crash on track, and that is very dangerous. Speaking of erratic movements potentially here from Punju, you could see there, oh, it's all over the infield, very much not fully in control of that car. You can see that coming down the main straight now as Nigel and Zylo both take to the racing lines. Oh, and Nigel's up into the wall. And I wonder if that's caused damage. And it looks like it might have. A little wobbly now is Nigel. And he's definitely pulling into pit lane. And that is a horrible, horrible way to go for him. Caught with a little flick up from Zylo to the outside. And that has put him in the walls. He's had to react to it. Which narrows us back down to our original 5 now. Punju still leads the way. The polka dot menace still holds position, as meanwhile Stig has now entered P2 temporarily here as they come around onto the main straight. Was holding the inside line. Punju actually goes wider than normal here. That's going to give an opportunity potentially for Zylo to go around the outside this time around, but no. Meanwhile, Skill Issue and Pogs have both left the pit lane. They are both back on track now. Pogs spending 9 seconds in the pits. Dutch a whole 15 seconds. They will be very separate on track. And in fact, Pogs is just in front of our leading train here. We'll cut to him now as we go onto the blimp cam. The one time the blimp cam actually feels like it's functional. This is what the battle looks like for the lead. 4 cars at the front. Meanwhile, just trailing slightly off the back. It is Giants fan as they currently run line astern. 1, 2, 3, 4. As the blimp, for some reason, likes to go directly over the drivers. As they drive in formation here around the Auto Club. 34 laps gone. 35 begins. And they have almost caught the back marker of Pogs, who is 3 laps down. Nigel, by the way, still in the pit lane. Currently, Pogs has now inherited P6 from him. And within 2 laps, Dutch will take it off him as well. That damage from the contact with the wall, potentially more serious than we thought. Here comes Zylo there, coming very close to the side wall of Punju. But no contact made. We cut now back to our infield camera. As Punju's been shuffled to the outside. And this is a great opportunity now for Zylo to take the lead of the race. And I think he might have done so. Punju attempts to hold outside and actually has a full car length in front before the corner. And so we'll hold P1 whilst holding outside. Zylo, meanwhile, tries to get the wheel on the infield, not working, but has just managed to get a better acceleration. And it's funnily enough now the fact that they are catching the lap back marker of Pogs that has caused Bunju to back out of the move, and it has allowed Xylo to inherit P1 as Bunju attempts to go to the outside, and he's trying to go and hacking in his way around the outside of Pogs. Pogs slits it through the middle, keeps it steady and clean, goes down to 4 laps behind. But will not cause any incidents today. Bunju leads once again though. Bravery exemplified from the absolute menace of a car that he drives. As meanwhile Xylo now cuts to the outside, trying to get the move done. Had a great run out of turn 1, but can't seem to make it work down the straight. Just runs out of gas almost as they come through now. As meanwhile Stig and Maud are both still right there, 3 and 4, holding position, keeping close and waiting for an incident to occur. You know they will have the ability to jump whenever they need to at the end of this race. They are just staying steady for now. Meanwhile behind them, Giants fan sitting a little further adrift, about half a second back from our leader in Bunju and in Xylo, I guess. But is also not out of this one. It's far enough back that he might have time to react to any incident that occurs on track, like that one there, as Bunju makes contact with Xylo and has now gone on the off track, and that could be a huge incident if he's not able to catch it. He has done. Oh, but he's lost it. Into the wall goes Bunju. And that is the second crash he's had this race. He rejoins the track. Exit of turn 1, or entry of turn 1. And we'll have a slow back marker catching him quickly here. But what that has done is it's inadvertently opened up the battle at the front now. And I'm not sure who's to blame for it. Either way, Xylo lifts off almost down the straight. And that has allowed Maud to start attacking for position. Holds outside, doesn't get a great run either. Giants fan now up to P3 has inherited positions of madness here, as there's been a crash potentially on track, as there's been a slow moving Dutch car battling around the corner, and he is being approached at very high speeds here. As into the pits comes Maud, alongside Bunju and alongside Dutch. That leaves our gaps at the front. Giants fan now 3.5 tenths back from Xylo, but will have the toe to be able to close up. Meanwhile, Stig getting that double toe is currently closing the gap. We are at the pit point for new tyres and fuel. You can see Xylo going high here, potentially looking to pit soon. He seems to be ceding position. No, just holding the high line, it appears. Potentially feels more comfortable as cars start coming out of the pits. There's Bunju out of the pit lane on the infield right now. For some reason the camera decided not to follow. Here's Stig. Meanwhile, Maud, P4. Ahead of Bunju by a lap now. As meanwhile, Stig has inherited the lead. And I'm not sure what's happened here, but I think there may be damage to Xylo's car because he is not turning in fully. We're going to have to watch this. Slowing down massively by doing so. Now seems to be unsettled on the straights here. And now goes tight inside to try and get the run on Giants fan. It is very confusing what the strategy is here from Xylo. Maybe just looking to try and have some fun at the expense of everyone else. We know his ability will allow him to make mistakes and still function faster than anyone else. And look at the pace difference. Straight around the outside like he wasn't even there. Giants fan has no defense. Now here comes Xylo once again, round the outside, this time the final corner. The number 52 goes out a little bit to try and put him off, and has done so for a corner, but how much longer can he defend from Red Lightning? The number 30 leads the championship on tiebreaker alone. Because one of the races just isn't counting for some reason. Though it definitely happened. And will now take the lead of the Grand Prix once again, as we almost have reached the halfway point. If you're wondering what is happening with the guys behind, this is Punju and Pogs. They are together on track. Still in the pit lane is Dutch, who is still recovering from his crash. And Nigel now is back in the race, but is battling with, I believe that is Maud. Meanwhile, Punju is with Dutch. No, that's not Dutch. That's Pogs. There we go, we got there eventually. Meanwhile, back at the front three. This is the lead pack now. Nigel 9 laps down, with half the race to go. Pogs 4 down, Punju 2 down, Maud having pit 1 down. Oh, there's been an incident! As round goes Xylo, caution thrown immediately. And a great call there to throw the caution when they did. Xylo completely lost it on the infield, threw it round in a circle, but somehow didn't lose the car completely and put it in a wall. It'll be interesting to see if he stays out after that. I personally wouldn't. I would get new tyres, and Xylo thinks exactly the same and goes into the pit lane. Meanwhile, at the front, Giants fan, once again proving that he knows how to inherit the lead of the race, has done so and has just managed to avoid an incident there to secure himself P1 currently, as Punju will look to try and unlap himself here. Now in comes Xylo. What will this mean for him? He will just be changing his tyres, so it appears it was just a tyre issue that he might have been having. If there are repairs to be made, he's definitely not making them. Only 8.6 in the pit lane, in the pit box that time. But he will come back out on the lead lap, and that is crucial. Now it'll be interesting to see what Giants and what Stig do. Giants will be coming into the pits, as will Stig. Neither had pit to this point. Or maybe they had, but neither had pit in a while. In fact, you know what? Let's actually pull it up. Here are your stinked lengths, and you can see Stig has boxed, but it was Giants fan who had gone from the start of the race on the same set of tyres, as now it will be the race leader, Xylo. And if you're wondering what's happened with everyone else, they've been forced to slow down. I believe they've unlapped themselves. That's actually what's happened. And so they will all have the opportunity, I believe, to unlap themselves several times. As meanwhile, key movers in the pit lane, the 52 and the 1, the number 1 belonging to Giants fan, will be P2 still. Stig, the 52, will be P3. And currently, it will be Maud in P4, though he has boxed again. Very interesting to see so far. If you're wondering who has fastest lap, here are the fastest laps so far. It technically belongs to none other than Punju with a 32.33. I believe set trying to catch the back of the pack, but we are on our third caution now. As we now cut back to the front of the field, and it will be 4 cars at the front. And notably, Maud is no longer a lap down. As Punju will come back through, Punju will now be back on the lead lap as well. Through goes Nigel, through goes Pogs. They are both now also getting closer to the lead lap and finally returning to the race. We haven't seen him in a bit, but Dutch has returned from the pit lane. That car has been fixed up, patched up, squeezed together again, and the engine should be functioning as it was. As we now get back to 2 astern as they come around, it will be 5 cars on the lead lap to restart this race, and Punju will be at the very back of that pack. And that may be the most terrifying sentence anyone's ever said, as Punju actually decides to box as well and make the most and get some new tyres on. Meanwhile, Pogs, Nigel, and to a lesser extent, Dutch will try and make their way around as well. They are trying to unlap themselves as many times as they humanly can before the pace car comes in. But considering we are not line astern yet, I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. Unless we're meant to be line astern right now. There are 4 cars there. Maud has just arrived. It does appear Pogs has been let through. No, Pogs has not been let through. And that means we will be going racing this time. So we will go to the front of the pack. It will be Giants fan who will lead us away. And Punju might not have caught up by this point. Behind them, Dutch closing down the straight. That's the number 74 orange car. You can see hurtling towards everyone. Oh, and he's caused contact! He's gone into the side of Maud, and I think he's damaged his car because Maud's had to box. As meanwhile, I'm trying to see if the pace car's still there. It appears it is. And now they will begin going line astern. I am very, very confused as to what just happened there with Nigel. Well, not with Nigel, sorry, with Dutch. Because that has caused major damage to the front end, potentially, of Maud's car. Maud will return from the pit lane. Believe that will be his quick repair, basically. As everyone is using the primary tyre still, you can see the grey wall tyre. No alternates available, I believe, this weekend. As we will be going racing this time around. Everyone has caught back up. Maud is still technically on the lead lap, but will be at the very back of the pack here, with 3 lapped cars between him and the next car, which will belong to the number 30, Xylo. Meanwhile, at the front, Giants fan and Stig will lead us away. 2 drivers who had yet to lead the race for more than a lap will now get the chance to do so for the entire restart. Punju, though, is right behind them. Pace car is in. And we will wait to go green. Here at the Indy Grand Prix, green flag issued. We are racing once again, and it is a great restart for Giants fan and an awful one for everyone else. Stig has completely lost run off the start, and that has opened the gap up. Punju will now be chasing down Giants fan. Oh, and Punju's got an amazing over. Oh, I think he crashed. That is an absolutely monumental crash. Out comes the caution. Stig crash. That's Pogs is out as well. Meanwhile, at the back, that's Maud has collided with them. There's a 3-man crash that's brought out the safety car again as everyone tries to nurse their cars home. We thought Stig might have had an issue off that restart. He was so slow. But now, confirmed, the incident has occurred and Punju's hit the wall as well. 4 cars with monumental damage. Pogs has crashed again. Apparently. Well, it's just him stopping. Sorry. One person who's benefited from all of this, oddly enough, is the number 7 Nigel, who was 7 laps down, hasn't been involved in an incident here, and is now trying to catch back up to the field. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it is Xylo who leads. The number 30, from Giants fan the number 1, from Maud, who is damaged beyond repair by the looks of him, in P3 currently. And I wonder if he'll box this lap. You think he has to. His front wing's hanging off, and part of his side pod is hanging off. As in comes Xylo, and also into the pits comes Giants fan and Maud. Maud almost hitting Giants fan on the way in, which would have been horrible. You can see he's having to correct the steering as well. And that is a ridiculous run in this race, as Nigel will now be the one following the pace car and then be forced to overtake the pace car. Meaning Skill Issue, who's 13 laps down, has to remain behind it for the foreseeable future. Stig is going again. Giants Fan has not got going yet. So Stig will lead us here. It will now be a battle between Xylo and Giants. Xylo has the better pit box, meaning he will go out first. Maud, getting repaired, has had the quick repair done to his car, so should be going pretty quickly here. And now, hopefully, the Xylo has caught the back of the pace car. The pace car might let Dutch go. Because if Dutch has to restart this 13 laps down, that feels very unfair to him. Meanwhile, there's Nigel. 6 laps down currently. So caution is still out on track. As everyone tries to reorient themselves and reshuffle themselves into the order they should be. Currently on track is not the order you see on the left side of your screen on the tower. We have Dutch Raven, who is currently at the back of the field and is now boxing as well to get out of the way of everyone else in P1, but he's actually in P8, 13 laps down. Now make that 14 laps down. Maud, who is in P4 currently, is still getting repairs to his car. Punju, who was P5, in the pits, repairs. Pogs, in pits, repairs, P6. Nigel, who is P7, 6 laps down, is currently gaining time on those people because of the fact that he is able to still drive. Pogs will be the first one out of the pits, it seems. And it will be Pogs. As we cut to a great scenic camera. That's not the one I'm looking for here. Sorry, that's not Pogs. That's Skill Issue. Pogs is gone, it appears. Pogs is no longer in this race. Yeah, Pogs has retired. We have official confirmation. Pogs has retired from the Grand Prix. And so, with 44 to go, chaos still reigns at the Auto Club. Minico, I have no idea what is going on. Skill Issue, I don't believe I can see your livery right now. I don't even know what your livery looks like still. Meanwhile, we now know our front 3 off the restart are going to be 1, 2, and 3. But that's about it. We're going to have Giants Fan alongside Xylo, alongside Stig. Green flag has been waved. And we are under racing once again here at Auto Club. Will we go more than a lap? I doubt it. On board now with Stig in P3. Behind him, currently, Nigel in P6, who is currently trying to unlap himself from everyone else, has inherited P6 ahead of Pogs now. Meanwhile, Punju and Maud, who are 4 and 5, not respectively, I said them the wrong way round, are currently in the pits getting repairs to their car. Dutch, who is P8, who is 14 laps down, is currently at the back of this pack, catching everyone. Raceman, I don't know what's going on. Here's the front. And here's what it looks like from the back. Quarter of a second, the gap between Xylo, our race leader, and Giants Fan. You could see the difference of pace when it comes to the toe around here. You can hear the tyres squealing. Xylo is pushing that car around the corners. There's Nigel, the Beer League buzzer car. As meanwhile, we now have confirmation Nigel has overtaken Punju for P6 or P5. Punju is now another lap down. He's now 6 laps down compared to everyone else. By the end of this lap will be at least. As meanwhile, you may notice at the back of the pack that car drifting slowly further and further away. That is the 74 of Dutch. He's not been able to keep up for position. As now Nigel has truly inherited P5. Guaranteed to have that position. Let's get back to the TV cameras. Let's go back to the infield here. As you can see, the leaders are trying not to fight anymore because they realise now just how dangerous it is when you fight. And Zylo is looking to try and control the pace of the race. But we saw he is not immune to making mistakes. He had a moment which brought out the third caution. A spin coming onto the back straight, I believe, cost him a lot of time. Meanwhile, Nigel, who is now P4 in this pack, is now P4 on track as well, as Maud is now another lap behind. By the end of this lap, Nigel will have overtaken him. In fact, has already overtaken him, my apologies, and has now inherited that position. So Nigel now up 1 is now where he should be on track, just 6 laps down. We are still waiting for confirmation if one of the two drivers in the pits will be returning to the race. As it currently stands, they will both still remain P5, P6, as long as Dutch does not manage to find another 7 laps out of thin air. Meanwhile, the leading 3. Gap has extended slightly, and Stig might now need to start thinking about getting past Giants Fan. We know he has the pace in that UPS liveried car, but hasn't been able to use it to its full extent on this stint. Giants Fan just holding the gap at about 4/10 currently. Nigel also not able to make any inroads as it stands. Let's have a look at the lap times that we've been seeing here. Let's have a look. So this will be, I believe, Stig looking at the lap times, comparing him to, I believe, Giants Fan, and you can see there 33.2, 33.4. We look at Giants Fan here and compare it to both of them. You can see Zylo has been lapping comfortably quicker than both. He's able to get more speed despite the fact of tow. There's a slower lap that time from Zylo, but he's still not able to make any movements currently, is Giants Fan, to try and close the gap. He's holding too narrow and is just starting to fall out of the tow range. You can see down the straight though, Giants Fan gains about 2/10 down the straight and is now starting to put the foot down. Maybe was just easing off, getting those tyres back into working temperature, potentially. Maybe this wasn't a Zylo skill diff. Maybe it was just a pure talent distraction, as now we have official confirmation that Skill Issue is no longer in last place, has overtaken Pogs, who will not be finishing this race. He has now lapped Pogs in a sense. As soon as he crosses the line this time around, he will inherit P7 proper. We do have 35 laps to go. If you've got any messages in chat, anything you want to hear about, or anything you want to see, please let me know and I'll do my best to facilitate it. I do have the chat just about open, so if you do have any questions, please do let me know. And also, if you are watching for the first time, please do leave a like. It does help us a lot. It helps the channel grow, and it helps us as racers grow as well. The more presence we have, the more people we can get in, and the more people we can get doing insanely chaotic races just like these. And just as quick as Johnson had gained that 2/10, he's lost 3.5. And is continually losing hundreds per corner. And again, gains it back on the straight and then loses it again the next corner. Johnson is taking maybe the wrong line through a corner and then gains it all right back again. Very confusing, as we do have news on Punju. Believe Punju may have retired from the race, and in fact, the only racer still in the pit lane currently is Maud. And what that means is that Skill Issue will now inherit P6 and potentially P5 by the end of next lap. Back to the front now though, and the gaps have come down, and Giants Fan is finally there on the gearbox of Andre Luis. The Zylo effect has taken place, as now he is having to try and defend ever so slightly. Meanwhile, one driver who is relatively happy with his finishing position currently is Stig. On the lead lap, is currently set for a podium in his debut here around this oval here in California, but we'll be looking for more than just that, as now official confirmation that Skill Issue has inherited P5. Mort still receiving repairs. We know for a fact that Punju has retired from the race, just isn't listed yet. Though I assume it will change very soon. As Giants fan once again is not full throttling here. It's sort of easing around and it's just letting the gap grow between him and Zyler. But he can't let it go too far, else he will become under pressure from Stig. Here you can see the gap now start to come back down as they come onto the back straight. And we know the Giants is going to get one hell of a slingshot off of this. And if he wanted to, he could potentially go for the move for the lead of the race. But for what end would that lead to? Here comes Nigel, getting a little impatient potentially here. Uses the slingshot, goes round the outside of Stig and now attempts to keep that pace going. Round the outside once again. This time of Giants fan will look to try and hold the outside line, potentially to tuck in between Giants and Zyler, but has had to back out ever so slightly mid-corner, and what that will do is slow him down in sort of the entire rest of the lap. It will now mean he's no longer getting any tow whatsoever. He will slowly be shuffled back to 4th in this pack. Though, if Giants keeps opening the gap up to Zylo as he has, it's going to keep causing problems and it's going to keep allowing Nigel to close that gap. And Nigel is still holding there alongside, I believe that is Stig, who is having to lift to not hit the back of Giants fan. And there you can see now Nigel slotting back in. Everyone just sort of easing their way through the laps now. They know that this is it's not a sprint anymore. This is a endurance type race. You have to be in for the full 100. You can't just half-ass it for five laps and then hope you're going to be fine. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I believe Giants fan is just nursing. I don't think he's trying to push, trying to overtake. And it's fair enough. And you can see he's actually pulled out of the line. What that has done is it's allowed Stig, who we believe is the faster of the two drivers either way, to inherit P2. And now, look at the gap he has closed to Zylo. And Zylo will in fact pull to the outside here. And that will allow Stig to inherit for the first time this race the lead, as he goes on to lap 75 this time around. And that is a great accomplishment for him, as into the pits comes Nigel. And Nigel has completely missed his pit box. Please ignore that, he will say. We'll go back to the lead of the race. Stig leads from Zylo from Giants fan. The fastest pit stop of the race so far, by the way. Nigel down with an 8.2 in the pit lane. Very good pit stop from him. This camera angle is just giving me all sorts of problems, and I really don't like it. So let's try this camera. And hopefully this one feels a lot better. Zylo, little shaky in the rear. We've seen already. And so we now see how wide goes Stig on the exit there. I'm not sure what the purpose is. Coming down the straight, it looked like he was trying to cede position, but it's just not been allowed by none other than our race leader, or former race leader Zylo, and the championship leader, who is looking to just bring home good points this weekend to maintain that lead, especially with Punju out of the race. The closest championship rival, the race winner last time out at Long Beach. But of course, Stig making his MRL Indy debut has done a very good job so far at holding position. We can pull up nameplates now. Here is what Zylo looks like. Zylo, of course, is a cat, if you didn't know. And Giants fan, of course, as well, without a picture. just the green and black helmet. As meanwhile, Zylo has inherited the lead now as he has gone round the outside and has got the job done. Meanwhile, behind them, Nigel, back out of the pit lane, is catching up to Skill Issue, who he has now dropped another lap to, but is still 7 laps ahead of. Skill Issue, of course, we do actually have the picture of Skill Issue in a beautiful pink jersey. Looks gorgeous, but the livery's still not loading for some reason. We're not sure why his liveries aren't loading for us, but they just aren't. Maud, meanwhile, still in the pit lane, just sort of vibing. We're not sure the reason. Hopefully we'll figure it out for next time. But until then, it's back to the front. I don't know how many more Metallica references I can get in. Meanwhile, Stig's actually dropped comfortably off the back here of Zylo. Though I wonder if that is just a nursing strategy. We know the last time... The lap times they are setting, by the way, are about 7 to 8 tenths slower than what we have seen from them. Or at their best throughout this race. The best time we've seen, 32.33, of course, belonging to Punju. The fastest we saw last time was like 33.32, a full second slower than that. But Stig now has actually let the gap get over 7 tenths, and that might have been a little too much to handle. As you can see him closing it back up to within half a second, and potentially further. We know just how powerful the toe is in these Indy cars, especially around an oval, where there is less lift, less ability to break the toe. When you're in it, it is an absolute boon for you. You have to lift to avoid it. Looking at the previous lap times there, just to see the pace drop off. You can see there, the lap times from Zylo were comfortably slower. That time around was a lot faster. We got back into the 32s for both Stig and Giants Fan. Both of them setting 32.7s. But still, the pressure is mounting. 20 to go officially now in this race. And if you're wondering, well, is this a little boring? Kind of, yeah. That's kind of what happens a lot of the time. Meanwhile, if you're wondering what's happening elsewhere on the track, here is the battle, technically speaking, for P4. Yes, there are 7 laps difference. No, I don't care. Onto the main straight they come now. And at this point, it's about nursing tyres. They are going to the end. There won't be another pit stop, and they all know that. They have to be patient. And you have to imagine there will be a final lap dash from all of them. Stig has definitely been saving his tyres. Giants Fan, on the other hand, might have been saving them even more, considering just the distance he's been keeping. As now Zylo's gone all the way to the outside, and Stig has followed him. As we come on to the 17th and final, 17th to final, we are looking to see if anything crazy will happen. As into the pits comes Skill Issue, as Dutch will find his pit box. Let's see if he can find it. Fine. He has done. He's entered his pit box perfectly. Fresh set of tyres, bit of rubber on the car. Potentially some gas and go. We'll see what time he will exit the pits with. It's a 9.55, so a little bit of fuel there for the Dutch Raven. He now exits the pits. Still the battle at the front is this front three, and Giants Fan, who's done a very good job at being sort of carried along, in a sense, has been very smooth with his inputs, has not been pressing for overtakes or holding position or trying to fight for it. He's just been sort of sitting calmly and waiting for an opportunity to jump out. Meanwhile, looking elsewhere, there really isn't any movement anywhere, I'll be honest with you. Nigel's last laps, by the way, 33.9, comfortably slower than this pack. Zylo's setting a 30... Oh, sorry, no. Comfortably faster than this pack, as in comes Stig. And this could be crucial. If there is another pit stop to be made here, this could be huge for the pack. We know that Stig has only made one pit stop so far. This is his second. We'll pull up this the pit stop window once again so you can see, if I can find it, what the situation is for the pit stops. Where is it? I had it 5 seconds ago and I've lost it now. Here it is. As in comes Zylo. Giants fan stays out. So we are going one more. One more pit stop to the end, and it will be a dash to the line. Now the key thing here is Stig has exited the pit lane, and he's going to be doing so with a very fast Nigel running ahead of him, but no one else to keep him company. Dutch is on the other side of the track, and now Zylo is entering his pit box. So the key thing to note here is how long it will take. Ooh, Zylo didn't get fresh tyres. Zylo just went gas. Lightning McQueen style. And that will make sure he stays on the lead lap as Giants fan will now come around the outside. And that could be crucial here. Because Giants we'd assume has to pit again. Pit on the same lap as all of these drivers. Unless he has the fuel consumption of a god, there is no way he's making it to the end. What that does mean, however, is Stig, who is behind this pack, has now caught up to Nigel, by the way, and has overtaken him. If they work together and they are able to close the gap, what could happen here is Giants fan ends up falling comfortably away. And you can see he's losing a bunch of time to Zylo. Zylo is full pushing here. Zylo might be on for the race win. Stig sets the fastest lap of the race. 32.2. That's last time out, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Zylo crossed the line this time. 33.2. Stig this time across the line. What time's he setting? A 32.6, so he's still 6/10 faster on fresh tyres. Zylo doesn't have fresh tyres on his car. This is huge. This is massive. All of those different things, they completely useless, it turns out. Either way, Giants fan has boxed from the lead. He's kept it. No, he hasn't. Maybe he has. No. That will be the end of Giants fans' push for the win. Guaranteed. The number one car has had an absolute moment. Meanwhile, this is now the battle for the lead. Stig, 2 seconds down. 1 lap extra in the pits compared to Zylo, and is lapping a second a lap faster on fresh tyres. Meanwhile, Zylo, without the fresh tyre advantage, comfortably down. Giants fan has only just entered the pits, has had to leave it again. Oh, and Giants has put it in the wall. And I wonder if that's going to cause him repairs now. He is still secured for P3, just due to the nature of it. We'll let you know when he exits the pits, but that is heartbreak for Giants fan. Let's go on board with him as we just wait to see him exit. You can see him holding in first gear currently. This is the better pit camera. Meanwhile, Ward is still just sat in the pit lane. He is still active in this race. He hasn't retired, but is just not involved. Someone who is involved, however, is Zylo, who is now under pressure and is being closed down by Stig, who is lapping at a rate of knots compared to him. 32.2 last time out. Zylo goes high, Stig goes low. And across the line, Stig will take the lead of the race and will now, with 8 to go, be P1. This is it to the end now. Stig versus Zylo. The battle of the century. One on fresh tyres, one on older tyres. Stig has had to push like hell to get to the front. Meanwhile, Zylo has been doing an amazing job keeping it just about the same, despite the tyre advantage. Here goes Nigel, looking to try and unlap himself. Goes to the outside. He is unintentionally getting involved in this battle for the win here and might realise he has to stay behind for the safety of himself and for the drivers in front of him. Meanwhile, Giants fan up the road from these three, about a couple seconds up the road from them, now chasing down Dutch Raven, who is P5 and is secure in P5. There's no way he loses that at this point. But the battle at the front is what matters. Xylo now. Is chasing down our race leader. 6 to go. He's got a better run. We'll go to the outside. We'll look for the move here. Round the outside of the final corner. But look at that tyre advantage. Xylo can't turn the car into the corner. He has to be careful with it. Has to run it wider. And you can hear the tyres going under his car. That's what the squealing sound is mid-corner as he goes into the infield and then has to back out. This battle, so intense for the race win. Come now onto the main straight. That will be the line. 4 to go. Xylo goes high, actually gets completely out of sorts there. The gap is going to open up, but he might just slingshot himself here. Gets the run out of the corner, run down the back straight. Has actually done a very good job to slipstream himself through there. Will go back into the lead temporarily. Tries to hold it around the outside, but again, that tyre advantage is coming into play here. Stigger's done an amazing job defending now. 3 to go. Xylo all over the back. Aggressive manoeuvres. Goes again wide. Goes for the slingshot on exit. Goes a little closer this time though. Will try and get a better overlap. Has done. Ahead now. Halfway down the straight. But it's not enough. And Stig is still right there. Stig cuts back across all and Xylo has to duck out. He's so close to the rear end of his car. Neither want this to end in tragedy. 2 to go. White flag next time. Xylo once again goes for the slingshot. Out of the corner. Carries more speed. Closes. Overtakes on the outside. Can he hold it? This time he's further ahead than he's ever been. Oh, they contact. Wheel to wheel. Both drivers not giving an inch here. Xylo desperate to get in front, but Stig is holding. White flag drops for both of them. This will be the final chance either will get. Xylo goes wide. Goes for the slingshot. Stig holds inside. Xylo goes outside. Doesn't have the overspeed he did before. All Stig needs to do is hold his line and he holds the win. Xylo tries round the outside. Can he do it? No. Tucks back in for one last draft to the line. Can he find a way through? He can't. It will be Stig who hangs on to the win at the Auto Club 100. It will be Stig who wins this race. And it will be a P2 for Xylo. A very hard fought, well fought battle there at the end. Fireworks go off as it will be a victory for a new driver this season. Meanwhile now, just to confirm position, Giants fan will round the final corner. He will confirm P3, which will inevitably confirm Nigel's P4, as across the line also comes Skill Issue to take P5. Maud, the only driver yet to finish the race, technically can retire whenever he wants to, but will still probably have to finish another lap. And that is an absolutely phenomenal race. 0.04, the gap at the end there, between our two race leaders, and it will be a race win for Stig, and a phenomenal one at that. Let's see if we get any donuts from him. Yes, we do! A phenomenally defended battle there. And you can tell he's happy with it. 100 laps. And not many of them did he lead, but he did enough And he saw it out in the end. What a debut race for the 52. That will be all for our racing this week, at least for now. We do have more coming your way next week, but we will also be getting some interviews in here shortly, though there will be no camera for them, unfortunately, just due to the setup changes for today. I want to make sure it looks pretty, so I do apologise, but there won't be any of that. I'm also going to turn this down slightly, because I realise that is blinding. I've just turned it off. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Now it's not so much as an uneven lighting as it was before. I do apologise for that. But what we can do is get the people into the booth to get an interview. And what we can do is get the man who missed out by 400ths of a second. It was a man who held on for just as long as he could. And this will be Xylo entering the booth with me. Xylo, commiserations on that one, mate. An intense final 5 laps there, where you were always trying to get that slingshot onto the back straight, but just wasn't able to pull it off in the end. How do you feel after 100 laps of the Auto Club?
I mean, as you saw, I definitely did like a Lightning McQueen. I just wanted to gas for the last lap, and those 100 laps were like very, very, very difficult. As you saw, everyone was very close together. The risk of a crash happening, which many happened, is like very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
So to finish P2 and almost in fight for the race win, is very good.
Yeah, I think the difference in the end was the tyre advantage. We saw when you'd come out of the pits, you were lapping about a second a lap slower per lap, which allowed Stig to close that gap and then get in front just on pure pace advantage due to those fresher tyres that he had fitted in his pit stop. But that 3 seconds you had gained almost worked out in the end. Had you kept that position, I don't know if you'd have been able to find a way through. But another phenomenal performance from you driving-wise. You kept your cool several times in that race. You were in the middle of the pack, and you never found yourself in trouble.
I mean, yeah. I had a couple incidents in the race, and that I wish I could have cut like a little more cleaner. But these things happen, and I underestimated the tire advantage. I thought it'd be a lot weaker. I feel like I could hold them up for like 4.4 seconds, I think was the gap was. I thought I was able to do it. Turns out after the second lap he was 3.6 seconds behind me, and I knew I messed up.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, but the battle you put on there at the end was absolutely phenomenal. We kept with it the entire time. It was the only bit of battling that was happening on track. But commiserations, you didn't find the top step this time around. Next weekend, I believe I know where we are, but I'm just going to double check to make sure. We're at Road America. Do you feel, or not like next weekend, the weekend after, because it is, I believe, Mother's Day. Next weekend. In 2 weeks' time, Road Atlanta, do you foresee yourself back on the top step of the podium, or is there a different plan that maybe we don't know about, where you're going to miss another week?
Road America. I think it's probably my strongest track of iRacing. I feel like my pace there has always been very, very good. I mean, when I was racing Super Formulas there, I was comfortably doing top split times. So, I honestly, my expectations are to win the race and to win it by a lot. Because if I don't, then I did a bad job.
All right. Well, thank you very much for popping in. We do wish you the best of luck in 2 weeks' time at Road Atlanta, and hopefully I get to interview you again for that one. Have a great evening, mate.
You too.
All right. And since Giants fan doesn't want to join the VC, it seems, what we can do is we can interview maybe the most important man of the hour. That man is the one that came away with the victory in the end. And that, of course, is the one and only Stig. Stig, a phenomenal race from you. You kept your nose clean for as many times as you could, and in the end, found your way at the front of the field when it mattered the most. An incredible final few laps there, battling away with arguably the best driver on the grid. How did it feel to cross that line, P1, for your first race win here?
It felt pretty good, but I have no clue how I won it.
I have no clue either, I'll be honest with you.
I took the gamble of taking tires and fuel. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it because no one wants to fuel save anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll take tires. I think it'll have that pace advantage, even though it doesn't wear much here.
Mm-hmm.
Then I put the weight jacker down to 20 to put the rear wing as far low as it could go to get that straight line speed, and it just worked.
Yeah, the jump there, very much a Lightning McQueen play from Zyla, when no all gas, no tires, and in the end, you going for tires actually gave you that pace advantage to catch that gap up and then overtake straight away. It seemed like all you needed to do. You just held position for the rest of the race. A little bit of a bag of tires though towards the end had me terrified you two were going to completely bin it.
Oh yeah,
but...
I got tight on quarter entry because I was right in the bottom so hard, and I was like,
we saw the sparks on stream, and it was. I'll be honest with you, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
I thought that was race over and Giants was going to win, but no.
I thought he was going to go into the wall there. Not gonna lie, it wasn't intentional at all. But
what I will say is, you kept your nose clean for most of the race. That pack racing at the beginning though must have been so intimidating because it felt like there was no one that was racing as if it was 100 laps. It felt like every lap there was something new happening. Everyone was going for a move every corner. How do you manage to navigate a situation like that where everyone's driving quite aggressively and wanting to make positions up so quickly?
You don't drive aggressively. You just sit there and wait for something to go down.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, congratulations on your race win. We do have, in 2 weeks' time, our next race here in the iRacing series, a Road Atlanta in the same car. Do we think we'll be seeing you for that one as well, or do you think this was a one-off sort of appearance here?
I'll be there. I doubt I'll be as quick because I'm still trying to get used to iRacing in general because I only got the sim last Monday.
Oh wow! Well,
so
congrats.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous performance then. But yeah, congratulations on your P1. It was a genuinely well-deserved drive. You did a very, very good job. And I genuinely wish you all the best in 2 weeks' time. We are, of course, taking next week off for Mothering Sunday. But until then, have a great rest of your weekend. And hopefully we'll see you on the top step maybe next time out.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, have a good one.
You too.
And that will bring an end to the interview section because Giants fan is just not around. For some reason, I'm not sure why he doesn't want to hop in the interview waiting room. He knows he got P3. But either way, what that does mean is that in 2 weeks' time, we will be getting a race around Road Atlanta. Now, hopefully, we'll have as many drivers as we did today because that was hectic and that was a lot of fun. It will be May 18th, same time, same place, round 5 of the 10-round iRacing IndyCar Season 1 calendar. The only one before the double header of Indy ovals. We have Indianapolis for the Indy, I believe there's a specific name for it, the Moose 250 around Indianapolis, and then the Pocono 100 as well. But until then, we do have 28 laps of Road America to get through. That'll be in 2 weekends' time. So, of course, tune in May 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern for more IndyCar racing. And I have been Dan, joined by no one. We'll see you next time.